This is every SpongeBob theory that got debunked, starting off with the many theories surrounding the Krabby Patty secret formula. You see, ever since SpongeBob first released in 1999, people have been making wild and sometimes just ridiculous guesses at what the Krabby Patty secret formula could possibly be.
Well, it's made from...
With this then leading to the incredibly popular theory on the internet that the secret ingredient to this iconic burger is actually the meat of Pearl's mother, which is why we've never seen her in Bikini Bottom.
Mother of Pearl!
And honestly, on the surface, this theory seems pretty believable, as Mr. Krabs was once a notorious fisherman who used to hunt all kinds of sea creatures, with the most notable of these being whales. And on top of that, Mr. Krabs also has an entire vault filled to the brim with Krabby Patties, which of course would indicate some kind of premeditated plot, since this is far too many patties for SpongeBob and Squidward to cook by themselves, especially given SpongeBob's performance against Neptune in Season 1.
Perfect.
Although, a second popular theory about the Krabby Patty secret formula states that instead of Pearl's mother being put into Krabby Patties, that the secret formula is actually crab meat, and thus why they're called Krabby Patties. With the theory stating that Mr. Krabs wiped out all of his own kind, all in an effort to simply make more money. Which, I mean, yeah, this also makes sense. And it would explain why there are no other crabs in Bikini Bottom apart from Mr. Krabs and his mother. However, in a rather shocking twist, practically every theory surrounding the Krabby Patty secret formula would turn out to be completely debunked by none other than the show creator himself, Steven Hillenburg, who stated before his tragic passing that Krabby Patties actually contain zero meat, and that they're actually vegetarian burgers. Which, I mean, hey, at least it's not made out of 4 heaping pounds of freshly ground plankton.
I warned you.
And so, moving on, our next SpongeBob theory that got debunked is that all of the characters in SpongeBob represent the 7 deadly sins, which, if you've ever been on YouTube, Reddit, or anywhere else on the internet, well, then you've probably seen this theory a million times. With this theory stating that Patrick is sloth, Gary is gluttony, Plankton is envy, Mr. Krabs is greed, Squidward is wrath, Sandy is pride, and of course, SpongeBob is lust, which honestly kind of makes sense for some of the characters. I mean, yes, I absolutely agree that Plankton is envy, given his various scheming attempts to take away everything that Mr. Krabs has.
It's not fair! Krabs is being interviewed by Perch Perkins and I've never even had one customer!
And I also agree that Mr. Krabs is absolutely 100% greed, which just turn on any episode of SpongeBob ever and you'll see Mr. Krabs being incredibly greedy.
Hey, it's my lucky day! A penny!
Your luck just ran out!
Hey man, he's back! You're crushing my arm!
Unhand that penny or the arm comes off!
However, most of this theory just makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. As sure, Squidward can be passively sarcastic, but Squidward being wrath makes absolutely no sense. Nor does Patrick being sloth given his hidden genius abilities. Or even Sandy being pride, as yes, she is always very proud of where she comes from in Texas, but she's never shown excessive pride, which is where the sin lies. Oh, and of course, how could I forget the most ridiculous of all? SpongeBob is in no way, shape, or form lust, as he's just a happy-go-lucky sponge who loves working at the Krusty Krab and annoying Squidward, with SpongeBob never even showing the lust to make more money at the Krusty Krab.
You want your dime back? Take it! Now Squidward can come back, right?
Wrong! That ain't my first dime.
Then have some more dimes. I've got plenty of them.
So yeah, needless to say, myself and many other fans of SpongeBob weren't buying this theory when it first came up in the early 2010s, with this theory then being debunked by Steven Hillenburg himself, as well as various members of the SpongeBob writing team. And so, swiftly moving on, our next SpongeBob theory that got debunked is the theory that SpongeBob and Squidward are actually a couple. And I know what you're thinking, surely this can't be true, right? Well, for many years, this theory only grew more and more in popularity, with the origins of this theory actually dating back to season 1's Pizza Delivery, where despite SpongeBob and Squidward not exactly seeing eye to eye, well, by the end of the episode, when the customer is being rude to SpongeBob, Squidward then shows just how deeply he cares for his spongy companion by not only standing up to the customer, but also making him look like an absolute fool in order to protect SpongeBob's feelings, with fans speculating that Squidward acts towards SpongeBob in a very similar way to how people treat their romantic partners.
Another one? Look, I told your little friend I ain't paying for that!
Well, this one's on the...
And I remember reading about this theory years ago and thinking that it was absolutely ridiculous. However, as the series progressed, we saw time and time again that despite how annoyed Squidward gets at SpongeBob, well, he simply cannot live without him, which we initially see in the episode SB129 after Squidward gets stuck in the middle of time and space and then practically worships the ground that SpongeBob walks on when Squidward is finally able to return to Bikini Bottom.
And then I was nowhere, but now I'm back, and you don't know how happy I am to see you guys.
And once again, the same thing happens in the season 2 episode Squidville, where Squidward leaves Bikini Bottom in order to join a gated community of squids just like him, with Squidward enjoying this at first, but then realizes that he misses all of the flaws and imperfections of SpongeBob. And honestly, as fun as it is to speculate about SpongeBob and Squidward being a couple, this theory would then be completely shut down by none other than the voice of SpongeBob himself, Tom Kenny, who stated that SpongeBob and Squidward are just friends. And this would later be complemented by Steven Hillenburg, stating that SpongeBob is completely asexual and doesn't have any attractions, which of course means that the theory of SpongeBob and Squidward being a couple has been completely debunked. However, swiftly moving on, our next SpongeBob theory that got debunked is none other than the lost episode itself, Red Mist. You see, in 2010, a theory started to circulate around 4chan and Reddit that there was a lost episode of SpongeBob called Red Mist, where Squidward tragically unalives himself, with the story behind this being that supposedly a Nickelodeon intern in 2005 was looking for SpongeBob episodes to air and found an unlabeled DVD called Red Mist. And as stupid as this sounds, people across the internet really started to believe this, with this theory gaining so much traction that in 2021, SpongeBob actually referenced Red Mist in the Camp Coral episode SpongeBob and Randomland, which they did by having the exact same Squidward face with the black eyes and the deathly stare coming out and absolutely jump scaring the life out of Squidward.
This place is a nightmare.
And funnily enough, this brief cameo itself would become a source of conspiracy, after the Red Mist version was mysteriously taken off air after only a week, and replaced with a much cleaner version, which SpongeBob show writer Vincent Waller states was because of a standards and practices issue. However, aside from Waller, all of the original SpongeBob staff have refused to comment on Red Mist. But of course, let me know in the comments, does this mean that the theory is is debunked, or is there something far more sinister going on here? And so, moving on, our next SpongeBob theory that got debunked is the theory that SpongeBob is on one long trip, and that this explains all of the wackiness within the show. And yes, this does sound crazy, but to this theory's defense, there are a lot of weird sequences that SpongeBob is directly involved in that can be explained by SpongeBob being on a trip, such as in season 3's I Had an Accident, where after sitting paranoid inside his house all day, SpongeBob finally comes out only to see a man in a gorilla suit and, of course, a horse named George, who just so happened to be able to talk underwater.
What's a gorilla doing underwater in the first place?
Well, it's funny you should. See, George, they're onto us!
Let's get out of here.
However, this isn't the only time that SpongeBob has seemed high on more than just life, as in the classic season 1 episode Rock Bottom, some fans have theorized that the episode title is a clever play on words for how low SpongeBob feels after taking substances, with SpongeBob all throughout this episode experiencing intense anxiousness, as well as not being able to understand a single thing that's being said to him.
Next bus to Bikini Bottom.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Next bus leaves in 5 seconds.
Which, I mean, yeah, it kinda sounds like SpongeBob is a bit far gone. However, the ever-sensible voice of reason Steven Hillenburg completely debunked this theory, which he did by simply stating that SpongeBob is a funny show with absurdist humor, but that the show isn't supposed to contain such heavy adult themes. And so, before we move on to our final SpongeBob theory that got debunked, here is our honorable mention, with the theory that SpongeBob is a war veteran with PTSD. And this theory has gained a lot of traction over the past few years because honestly, it makes a lot of sense, as SpongeBob is incredibly strict with his routine and also frequently performs tasks as if his life is on the line, all while saying yes captain or yes sir, just as an army soldier would say to their superior.
Bob, did you get those bathrooms mopped yet?
Yes, ma'am. Sir. Boss. Poobah.
However, SpongeBob writer Paul Tibbitt would quickly shut down this theory by implying that SpongeBob is just a sponge and certainly hasn't fought in any wars. And so, for the moment you've all been waiting for, our final SpongeBob theory that got debunked is that Patchy the Pirate and the Flying Dutchman are the same person, which is a theory by YouTuber Alex Bale that blew up in 2022, and essentially states that Patchy the Pirate was so obsessed with SpongeBob throughout his life that when he eventually dies, he's forced to haunt the SpongeBob universe forever as the ghost of the Flying Dutchman.
Insulting a man's ship be worse than insulting his mother.
No, wait, it was his mother you said was dirty, not his ship.
With the key evidence to support this being that Patchy the Pirate has left visible clues that he's entered the animated world, such as writing "Patchy was here" on the bins outside the Krusty Krab, and also seemingly featuring in the Flying Dutchman's treasure board game, even wearing his same iconic hat. Oh, and of course, how could I forget? When we go into the Flying Dutchman's wardrobe, we see the exact same puffy shirt that Patchy the Pirate always wears. However, that's not all, as the theory also states that in the episode SpongeBob's Big Birthday Blowout, we see Patchy the Pirate crash into the Bikini Bottom Island head first, which, because this is his last live-action appearance, fans have speculated that he really died here and subsequently rebirthed as the Flying Dutchman.
They wish.
Yes, we will! Rock! They drop on the deck and flop like a fish!
And honestly, this may be one of the most convincing SpongeBob theories out there. However, officially at least, this theory was debunked by the man behind Patchy the Pirate himself, Tom Kenny, who stated that he stopped doing the in-person segments for Patchy the Pirate due to a mixture of getting older in age and also the lockdown in 2020 forcing the SpongeBob team to make Patchy the Pirate animated. Or at least, that's the official story. But of course, let me know in the comments comments. Do you think that Patchy the Pirate and the Flying Dutchman are the same person? And so, this is every SpongeBob theory that got debunked. Let me know in the comments if you agree, or are there any theories that you still think are true?